right, the last thing that I have to say, maybe more later, but for this particular podcast, is very brief, but I want to quote what Nick Kristoff had in the New York Times. I deeply respect Nicholas Kristoff. He was brought up on a farm in Oregon? He's become an opinion writer, and a very good one, with the New York Times, an advocate for justice and decency and truth and morality around the globe. I have nothing but respect for this guy. Here's what he wrote. President Biden is a good man who capped a long career in public service with a successful presidential term. But I hope he reviews his debate performance Thursday evening and withdraws from the race, throwing the choice of a Democratic nominee to the convention in August. One of the perils facing this country, I believe, and Biden believes, is the risk of a victory by Donald Trump. And after the debate, it's hard to avoid the feeling that Biden remaining in the race increases the likelihood that Trump will move into the White House in January. Biden has never been a great debater, but his voice and manner didn't put to rest the doubts about his age and effectiveness. Rather, he amplified them. I happened to chat today with a woman who is undecided about whom to vote for. She says she distrusts both Trump and Biden, but will choose based on who will do better for the economy. And I bet that now she will be supporting Trump. In some sense, this may be unfair. This was one debate. A candidate's physical frailty, hoarse voice, and rambling responses may not be good predictors of how that person will govern. But in this election, they probably are good predictors that the candidate will lose in November and not have a chance to govern again. We see the world through narratives. And one of the narratives about Biden is that he is too old. His performance reinforced that narrative when he needed to shatter it. Biden, unable to puncture Trump's relentless and repeated lies, allowed a convicted felon to win the debate. Biden can resolve this by withdrawing from the race. There isn't time to hold new primaries, but he could throw the choice of a successor to the Democratic National Convention in Chicago. The Democratic Party has some prominent figures who I think would be in a good position to defeat Trump in November. Among them, Governor Gretchen Whitmer of Michigan, Senator Sherrod Brown of Ohio, and Gina Raimondo, the Secretary of Commerce, and there are many more. My phone has been blowing up with texts from people saying, as one put it, "Dear God, what are we going to do?" Another, also a fan of Biden, texted, "It's imperative we change horses." But Democrats have been reluctant to say this out loud and undermine Biden. So it will be up to Joe and Jill Biden to make this choice themselves. This will be a wrenching choice. But, Mr. President, one way you can serve your country in 2024 is by announcing your retirement and calling on delegates to replace you, for that is the safest course for our nation. A relatively quick opinion statement in the New York Times by Nick Kristoff. Man, how things can blow up in one's face so quickly. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. You know, the Progressive Voices Network brings you commercial-free commentary from today's leading progressive radio hosts and pundits, like me, Mike Malloy, 24 hours a day. I'm not your typical old guy from the 80s or the 90s talk radio host, and Progressive Voices is not your typical talk radio network. It's a listener-supported nonprofit with no corporate control whatsoever over our broadcast. So hosts like me, Mike Malloy, are free to rant and scream and carry on about whatever we like. We're often controversial, but we're never boring. Weeknights, 9 p.m. in the East, 6 p.m. in the West on the Progressive Voices Network. Always progressive, always on.
I'm Mike Malloy. Keep it lit.